Hello there. It's time for another Art in the AM. And I've been doing Art in the AM videos since April of 2020. 5+ years. If you watched the last video last week, I prepped my journal that I do every November. I've done for the past several years of leaf prompts. And I kind of showed how I got it ready. And I have all of the prompts in the front here. And I was caught up to doing one every day, or 4 each day. I didn't do one page every day, up to number 7. And then it came the weekend, and then I didn't do anything in my journal on Saturday or Sunday. So now I've missed 2 days. But I am doing the prompt today, which is just going in order. Remember, if you want these prompts, they are inside of my Art Journaling 101 group. I just like to follow them in order. Each day they give me a quick little way to do some art, do something creative. And last year on the 10th, today is leaf print. And last year I tried a technique that I want to try again. So I am going to make sure that I am working on page 10. So this was 7. Tell me if you saw the crayon resist. I think I just called it a crayon leaf, but the crayon resist was last week. So this was 7, and on that page, 8. I didn't get all the pages ready like I thought that I was going to last week. So this is 8. I got up to number 7 done, and that was what I have finished up to. So this is 9, and we'll work on page 10, which is the leaf print. So in order to get started with this technique, I will show it to you from last year's book. If you're in my Art Journaling 101 group, I just shared a photo of it as a little preview, just like 10 minutes ago. And I will show you the leaf prints that I did in 2022 and 2023 also. So let me get to the page for this one. So this is my book from last year. And I just burned this cover on here. It says Fall is in the Air. And it worked really well on this leather-ish kind of cover. So I was so excited to kind of like finish off this journal. But this is the leaf print idea. Now you can do leaf prints in all kinds of different ways, and I'll show you the 2 that I did previously as I have my paint drawing. But last year I had seen a video, right? We also see those little reels. We see those 15 seconds. We see those videos. And I saw this artist doing this technique like over and over again. So I went and watched a lot of the videos, and I thought, I want to try that. I want to try to see if I can get anywhere close to that look. And this is the page that I did last year, which was just my very first experiment. Hey there, Donna. Oh, good. I'm so glad that you can get back to leafing. So it's dirty hair. Do you feel that way sometimes? Like your hair looks better, like, except I have this little bump like right there because I have my hair up, but sometimes my hair looks better if it's dirty. I don't know. But anyway, this is the page. This is my leaf print page. So these are prints, I believe, of a real leaf that I did on here. And you can see just like all of these different colors, right? All of these layers of colors. And if you notice in the back, it starts with a very dark. And that is what I'm going to start with first. And then while it's drying, I'll show you my 2022, which I don't remember what the leaf print was, and my 2023, which I don't remember. And then I might need to use my dryer today. And I need to figure out what leaves. I have been collecting a lot of leaves. I had all of these that I used the other day. These are dried leaves that I've collected, and then I have a lot more pressed inside of a book. But let me show you what I've been trying to do in my journal. Tell me if you ever do this challenge for yourself, that you try to use what you have. You try to use all the things that you have. And I had collected last year in this bag my leaves, and I had things in here. So I have been trying to not create new things. At first, I thought that I would paint the pages in my journal black, and I'm actually going to do like a dark brownish, reddish black, mix some colors in there a little bit. But I thought I'm going to use some other things that I have, and maybe that'll create some interest. So I had this print. It is mainly black and white, and I used my jelly plate the other day. Tell me if you've ever used one of those, because you always want to have a paper where you offload, and that is this red going across here. So what I thought I'd do, this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper fits perfectly inside the journal that I'm using, going across both pages. So instead of painting these pages black, I'm actually going to reinforce them a little bit, because if you watched last week, these pages are only 65 pounds, which is a fairly thin. It's a pretty good thickness, but they're fairly thin. So by adding the paper to it, it'll just strengthen it and thicken it a little bit. So I'm going to take this piece of paper. I'll slide it down here, and I knew I was going to have to adjust my phone. My phone is like side heavy, so it starts to scoot on this stand and my table, so it's not wanting to stay still today at all. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to take this piece of paper, and you can see just about all of it. I'm just going to be painting a little bit. I'm going to use some black, and I'm just going to put it right on the paper here. I sometimes do that, just, I don't know. Sometimes wherever I kind of like squirt the paint, it kind of leaves like a little bit of a design, so I kind of like that. And then I think I'm going to use this red. It is a deep burgundy, just so I have kind of a dark color, but not just black. And I'm going to put a little bit of that on there. And I think I might do just a little bit of this brown. I know this is much lighter, but I feel like mixed in with these, it'll just kind of give it a little bit of depth of color. And I still feel like this is probably going to be a lot of paint. I just kind of drizzled it on there, but I'm going to use this. If you saw a little short video, a little reel that I did last week, I used this silicone spreader, and I had some people ask me, what is that? What are you using? And it was still too much paint, I can tell. I'm going to need another piece of paper. The brown paint that I use is actually a recycled house paint. It's Deco Earth paint, and I can smell it. Do you recognize that smell of house paint, right? I just thought this would be kind of interesting to do kind of a variation of color. So I kind of like some of that red that's in there, a little bit of the brown. And something about scraping the paper, I don't know, it kind of gets into the fibers of the paper differently than if I was, because I'm pressing down on it, than if I painted it. So if you never kind of tried, I mean, I'm using this, but you could use an old credit card, an old gift card or something. I am painting here on a piece of plastic, so I can just be able to just lift this up, move it out of the way a little bit. I still have a lot of extra paint. Ooh, I like that brown that's in there. There's a lot of extra paint right there. So let me see if I have another piece of paper. Of course, I don't have anything like right here really close to me. And you can do this a couple of different ways. I have this piece of paper. And I could take the extra paint and I could, you know, scrape it on here. What I thought that I would do is actually press it. And so now this piece of paper that has the leaves on here will probably be, hi there, Bev. Hey there, Sandy. Will be another sheet that I can collage with, and it has some leaves on there. Oh, yep, that's going to lift up my paper. This paper that I'm using right here is just copy paper, but it lifted up a lot of that extra paint there. And I pressed it down too hard. See that part right there? I just kind of pressed it down really quick and lift it up. And that works a little bit better to not rip the paper. Now I have this one kind of started with some color on there. So I'm going to take a little bit of, I think I still have enough paint, cover up these sides over here. It's going to be kind of covered up with the leaf printing that I'm going to do, but this way I won't have any white. I kind of like some of the brown that I have in there and the red. If you haven't tried scraping your paper like this, it really does give it a different look than if you painted it. And I feel like it kind of dries a little bit faster because it's like in the fiber of the paper. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry. And usually what I do is take a baby wipe and wipe this off. Hi there, Sue. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit, and I'm going to show you the two papers that I have, or the 2 pages that I did previously. So this is my journal that I'm going to work in. Remember, this is my 2022 book, and I think that this one also goes in order. I have not done a flip through of this one, so look for a flip through of this book. I think this one I did not do in order, so I believe that this is my leaf print. This is a print not from a real leaf. This is a print from a Dollar Tree leaf. You know those bags that you can get of all the different colors of leaves? This is a print of those. And I'll show you how I normally will paint on the paint right on the leaf and then be able to press it down and make the print. So I did 3 of those, cut out around, and they're glued on top of this that's painted, and then this is a collage paper too. This paper right here is actually from a coloring book, and it looks like I used pieces over in here too, so that's what those little pieces are. This might have been left over from this page. I was trying to use things that I had in this one too. So that was 2022. And now 2023, I did do a flip through of this one. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right pages, because I haven't done, oh, let me look in here. So it should be right after. Probably if I just counted, I would be able to figure out. So let me see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, no, that would only be 8, 9. I don't know. Maybe I didn't do these in order either. They're not labeled. Let me see. 1, 2. Let me see if they're matching up with 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm flipping go through these and maybe you can see them as I'm, so this is 6, and that is, yep, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so it says that this is 10. So these must be little prints. Yeah, they are, because they're attached, and or at least this one is. So this is a print from a leaf right there. And I think that this was a paper like that I already had. So I was really trying to use like what I had in there too. These little journals, I just find that they're good places for me to experiment with things and just try out different things. And I don't know, these must all be glued on there. But they just let me like experiment with things. And what I'm doing in the journal for this year is writing down how. Like, how did I do some of these? So if you watched last week, I decided to create pockets because I was gluing these 2 pages together, and I'm putting a note card in there, and I'm going to be writing on there how I did the pages. And since I'm only doing this side, here's the page where I used that paper that I just printed on. Since I'm only using this side, this pocket with the note card in there, I'm going to do the explanation of how I did the page, and then on the back side, I'm going to do like a gratitude. So I have done the realistic leaf. This is actually a pressed leaf that I put in here, and I'll tell you a little thing that I did to preserve these leaves, because there's another page where I glued the actual leaf in here. Inside of my Start Creating Mixed Media membership, each month I review a product, and I had reviewed this wax medium, this Dorland's wax medium, and I will show you. It's like a wax. It's like a waxy paste. And what I decided to do so that these didn't become like really brittle, I added some wax on there, and then I took my heat gun and I basically, it melted the wax, right? And so now these are preserved and they're not so dry. And that was the realistic one that I put inside there. And then this is the one that I did last week with the crayon relief. I added the words in there, so I still am going to do something on this page here. And this page, this is a real leaf. I don't know what kind of leaf this is. It's a giant leaf. So I did it for the big leaf page. And I put the wax on here, heated it up, and then it kind of preserved this. So this isn't as dry. It's more preserved in there. I don't know that I have ever seen anybody do that. I just kind of got the idea that I wanted to preserve this leaf in here a little bit more, and it worked pretty well. It's not like a waxy coat on there. So I didn't put it super thick, but it just sealed it a little bit and keeps it so it's not quite as dry. This was one that I did from the jelly print, and I have a little video of this one. Then these are the pages that I still need to do. And so I will get to the one that I labeled here. So this is the page that I'm going to do. So I'm going to see if this is dry. There's one little spot here, which I am just going to lift up a little bit of it, and then I'm going to use my dryer to see if I can just dry it the rest of the way. So I kind of like that it isn't all black. I'm going to use my little heat tool. I love it because it's nice and quiet. And I'm going to be using it. This printing technique that I'm going to show you is you kind of need to let it dry in between the stages. So you can either do it in stages, which is kind of what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do like one step of it, and then you'll get the idea. Well, probably 2 steps of it. I feel like I have piece of hair that got stuck in there. So see, this dried pretty quick. You can't really see the underneath. That's why I decided to go ahead and use something that I already had. And you can see I reused that plastic there. So see, this paper fits pretty well going across here after I rip it in half. Yeah, it has like a lot of depth in there, right? With the red and the brown. And I wouldn't be able to get this if I painted it. So if you really want kind of more of a texture-y, kind of a lot of depth in there, mix some colors, try scraping your paper, and it makes some great collage paper. So I am folding this in half. This is just an 8.5 by 11 copy paper. And I love copy paper for collaging because it's thin, because it absorbs the moisture. And then I just rip it. Sometimes I'll lay a ruler down and then rip it. Hi there, Lori. And then I'm going to glue these on here and see they fit really well on the papers. So I'm going to use my glue stick. I am going to... I could use the double-sided tape. That's an easy way to get, you know, collage papers like this that kind of fill up the whole paper. But I just usually kind of go around the edges, put a couple in the center, and kind of like line up the edges. And then what I've been doing is using my old credit card and pressing that down really well. I think this is actually a gift card. And so there was a spot right here I didn't get very well. But if you kind of start from the center and you kind of go out, you'll get a lot of the bubbles and the wrinkles and stuff out. And if you feel like whatever you're gluing is fragile, you can lay another piece of paper over top of it and then be able to press down. I'm not really too concerned about if this paper rips. I'm just really trying to get to the printing technique that I want to show you. And I'm going to be using, I think that I'm going to try it with some acrylic inks. Because basically what you want for this technique is white paint. You need white paint. You need a leaf to print. And then you need your fall colors, whatever you want to use. Probably like 3 fall colors. So you want a dark background. You want the white paint. And then you want the fall colors that you want your leaf to be. There's a lot of things that you could do with that background right there, right? Because if you did not see, this is the technique that I'm going to show to you, this leaf printing technique. And I have these 3 acrylic inks. I'm probably going to start with the bronzy one and go to this and then do the gold. And I thought that I'm going to try these and see, because I remember using kind of like watered down kind of paints anyway. So now I'm going to pick out my leaf that I want to do. I have pressed all kinds of leaves. I think I want to do that one. Although it doesn't have a lot of good veins. Like you want one with the veins so that they will print. So I think actually one like that would work better. And I really like the shape of this one. I even like how the stem kind of dried. But that one doesn't have a whole lot of veins on there either. So let's see. That would be kind of a fun one, but I don't think that has, it has little teeny tiny lines in there. Oh, thank you, Bev. It's kind of like a reddish orange. I'm going to get them done again this Wednesday, so I'm going to pick a new color. I don't know what color. I don't know yet. Maybe like a glittery brown color. I don't know. This one, look at this big giant leaf. I don't even think that that will fit on one piece of paper. Ooh, here's a whole bunch of them. That one looks like it has some good veins in there. I tried this one. That one's a really nice shape. Maybe that. They dried really well in this book. That one has some really nice veins in there. I think I want to try one of these, even though I don't think the veins are going to show up really well. Oh, look at this one. That one is so nice. I still don't think that one will even fit in there either. And then I have like a couple little, look at this fun little speckly one. I think I do want a smaller leaf. Let's do a smaller, like that one. Okay. You could use the same leaf. You can use multiple leaves. I've got several different ones here. I think I want to do 3 different kinds. So let's do the large one. Let's do that one. And the smaller one. So I have 3 different ones on here. And actually I kind of like exactly how I just laid them out on there to start with. Because you're going to see it's going to be different as I go through there. So here's the thing. First, you want to have a nice big plate to be able to kind of paint your, I'm going to put that, to paint your leaves. And I am going to do this one first. This nice big one here. So you want to paint on the side that has the veins. I know, Donna, I was so excited to, I've pressed a lot more leaves this year than I ever have, really. You kind of need 2 palettes. So I'm going to use this little for my palette. And then I'm going to use this for painting the paint on my leaf. So let me see if I can show you what I'm doing here. So I just have this to kind of put my leaf on. I am using white paint, and I'm going to kind of like not get a lot of paint on there. Oh, this is not the brush that I wanted because it was kind of stiff. So I kind of just want like a little bit of paint on there because I'm going to really just kind of run it over the top as much as I can and not pick up, you know, too much. I'm trying to get more of the veins, right? So you don't want to paint the paint on there too thick. But you have to do it kind of quickly because you don't want your paint to dry or else it won't print. These are all the tips that I've learned from trying to print leaves. So get a nice coat on there, but not too thick. Make sure it's all wet. And then I'm going to press it right here. And I need another sheet of paper to be able to press. So now these leaves, I have not put any wax or anything on there. So they they're probably fragile. Okay, so I got a white print there, and I'll put that one off to the side, and then I'm going to do this little smaller one here. So that's the first step, is you just paint with the white. And then you want to make sure that the white is dry. Let me get this one on here. So I'm going to print all 3 of these. I'm going to try this one just a little bit thicker. Just a little bit thicker paint. And I'm not doing the stem, I'm just doing like the leaf itself. I think I want this one going this direction, which I didn't do that before. Now you have to be careful, because I did have some white paint on here. So you might want to have several sheets of, I'm going to call it blotter paper, that you're printing on there with. Oh, that one came, look at that, that part came out really well there. And then I'm going to do this leaf. I don't know what kind of leaf this one is. I don't know if it's also a maple. But I like the shape, that it's a little different. Oh, and it looks like it's going to have some nice veins on there. The tutorials videos that I saw last year of this technique, she did all kinds of different variations of this, and they were so, I mean, obviously she had practiced, because they were just done so well. And I don't even remember right off who it was, but it was one particular person that I saw that was doing this technique. Okay, then I'm going to do this one up in here, and right in there. And then I will dry this white with my heat gun, because you want the white to be all completely dry. So I have my 3. Oh, that one came out really well because I had the paint a little bit thicker on there. So I'm going to dry all of these. And then I said I was going to start with this. I'm going to start with this. It's an acrylic ink. Let's say the color copper. Maybe it's just copper. Oh, iridescent rich copper. I think that's what it's called. I'm drying this one the longest because it's a little bit thicker on there. This one's pretty much already dry. So you can experiment. You don't have to do the white paint, but this is the technique that I want to show to you. So you could print with, I mean, this neon orange. How fun would that be on the darker? I think that would probably show up really well. You could, you could just use acrylic paints, but I wanted to try these inks because the next step is to paint over the entire thing with the next color. And I think that I'm going to do the copper first. So now I need another little palette. So I have another little circle here. And if you've never used these acrylic inks, they have like a little dropper, which works really well. These are fun because they have this sparkle, this iridescent in here. And I'm doing 2 pages. You could just try it on 1 page too. So I'm going to use this acrylic ink. And what I'm going to do is paint over the whole page. I'm going to paint over the leaf, which is the white. So can you guess what's probably going to happen, right? Is this acrylic ink, this copper, is going to show up brighter where it's on the black, or on the white. It's on the black. And it's going to be darker. And then I'm going to have this little, you know, sparkle back in there too. So it's almost like you're staining this white. And isn't that such a fun look? And then I'm going to paint this copper over the whole background. And I'll set this down so I can kind of get everywhere. And that's how I was able to get all of those layers on that one that I did last year. The acrylic inks are thinner than the acrylic paint. So I like, because I can paint them pretty quickly, you know, because they're thinner. How fun is that little sparkle, that little shimmer in there, right? Now, I remember when I did this last year, I really wanted that to be brighter. I wanted it to be white. So I don't know if, I feel like this is better than I did last year because of the acrylic ink. But it's brighter because it's going over top of the white than it is on the background here. And with the acrylic inks, they're not exactly, oh my gosh, what's the word that I'm thinking of? They're not, they're transparent. What's the opposite of transparent? They're not opaque. So I'm still seeing the background a little bit too. Whereas if you use acrylic paints, you would probably not see that much of the background. See, that filled in quite a bit more than I really wanted over there. You could add an acrylic medium, you know, to this if you wanted. The reason this one isn't showing up very well is because there's just not as much white. This shows up really well, this one over here, because there's more white. So what I learned from that first press is to paint more white. I'm going to put more white on my leaves. And I could take some water. Let's try that. I'm going to paint some water, just some water over there, and take a paper towel. That lifted up some of it, so it's showing a little bit more in there. Okay, once this is all dry, and it dries pretty quickly, I'm just going to take my heat gun. Then you're going to do that again. You're going to press the white leaves, and then you're going to do a second color. And I think that I'm going to do this magenta color. And then I'm going to end with my brighter color, which is the gold. So I'll show you the next layer, and then I'll do the gold layer and finish it. But oh. So you can see I have the layer in the back. I have like some orange in there. I painted around kind of like with some red. The red layer didn't show up as well. And then the top layer is just the brightest color, the gold is what I'm going to use. That one, I guess I used yellow. So I'm going to use my same leaves, and I'm going to paint on here. So now I think I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to put my bigger leaf over on the other side. So if you want, just try it on one sheet of paper. Just try it with one leaf. You don't have to get all, you know, get all fancy. I've got so many brushes over here. So I learned to put more white paint, thicker white paint. probably going to depend on the leaf that you use and how thick the veins are and, you know, all of that kind of thing too. So you probably have to experiment with what kind of leaf works best. With the bigger leaf too, I wonder if it had to do with the drying time of it too. This one definitely making sure that I get it pressed everywhere. I could slide it over here so you could see what I'm doing. And you could do the stems too. I just decided that's where I wanted to be able to pick them up. So that came out much better because I put more white on the leaf. So I'm going to dry this. I'm just going to do this one side so you can kind of see the next layer. And I'm going to do that magenta. It's kind of bright. There aren't magenta leaves, but it's one of the only other acrylic inks that I have. Oh, if I can get the lid off here, that I thought that I would want to use. So we'll see. I think actually it'll be like a nice contrast. It doesn't have any sparkle in it. So, and it is kind of runnier. And look at that. And then I'm just going to paint over top of everything. Look how that shows up on there. I actually like the magenta. And I think the video that I saw and that I tried last year was she painted around the leaves to have them stand out more, because I'm kind of losing a little bit of the leaf, but I don't know, I like this magenta. I don't know, I kind of lost that one down underneath there, but I really like the magenta. So you can try it and see. This definitely is a different color than that, so it stands out. So I'm going to dry it and then show it to you and see. So there you go. So the magenta shows up a little bit brighter than this one down here. Those two are kind of close in value. So the gold is really what's going to show up more. And I'll probably put more of the smaller leaves, kind of like on the very top. But then you have like all of this kind of darker in here, and it has the layers of both of the colors, and it'll have the layer of the gold on top of there too. So just a fun way to kind of do printing a little bit different, like do it with the white instead of, you could definitely try printing with different colors on your leaves and try that. But think about the background, like before you would do the printing, or you'll have to do like I did on one of the page where you print and then you cut out around the leaf to be able to attach it, you know, which is fine too. When I give those prompts in the art journaling group, they're not meant for you to, you know, that you have to copy this technique, right? It's just a starter. It's just an idea. It's just a little spark to give you a direction so that you can be able to try something. And that's really what I was doing here. I wanted to try the technique from last year and just kind of see if I could like build it up and do something a little bit different. And definitely these colors and using the acrylic inks are different. So there's your idea for today. Remember, this video does get uploaded to YouTube. So if you're not following me over on YouTube, sometimes that's easier just to kind of go through the videos on YouTube. So it's usually up in the afternoon of the day that I do the video. And I also add some, little short videos over there too. So I do hope that you try this one. Donna says she's going to try it because it's just a different way of kind of thinking through how to do a print rather than, just printing the leaf, which is fine. There are a lot of different experiments that you can do and try things out with that. The art journal and the prompts and the art journaling 101, that's what it's all about, is experimenting and just trying things. And, it may be just what inspires you that day, and you want to try it in your journal before you kind of like lose the inspiration for it. So I do hope you try it. I'm going to finish with the gold and do some other prints. As this is drying on here, I can really start to see the difference between this leaf, this leaf back here, and then this magenta one on the top there. So yeah, it was just a fun technique that I saw. I mean, I even like it just with the white and that copper color. That's like a really cool kind of effect there too. So take what you want, try, in different ways, and please post your ideas in the Art Journaling 101 group. And if you're not in there, just put AJ 101 for Art Journaling 101, and I will make sure that you get in that group so that you can share and you can see the other leaf projects and pages that other people are doing over there too. So I will see you over there, and I will see you next Monday for another leaf prompt, which will be day number 17 next week. So I'll see you then.